like that song. Good night, Belmont. Well, we are outside. We have come outside. And tonight, we launch the PNM's election campaign officially for 2015. Dr. the Honorable Keith Rowley, political leader of the People's National Movement, leader of the opposition, member of parliament for Digger Martin West, and the next member of parliament for Digger Martin West, and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Miss Patricia McIntosh, outgoing member of parliament for this area. She has served you well. Give her a round of applause. The next member of parliament for Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West, Stuart Young, youth and talent. The next member of parliament for Laventille West, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines. Chairman of our party, Franklin Can. Other distinguished guests, supporters, well-wishers, members, friends. I wanted to talk tonight on this platform about weed, but I can't. I wanted to talk about checks paid to Munilal and Gavin Nicholas, but I can't. I wanted to talk about the police changing their story and getting confused, but I can't. I wanted to talk about Rowley illegal suspension, but they wouldn't let me. Because I have a very important duty tonight. So I can't engage in bacchanal tonight. It is important for me to educate you and to inform you what will happen from today to the 7th of September with respect to your ability to vote in the next general election. Because the government is not going to tell you. I somehow don't think the Election and Boundaries Commission will tell you. They might tell you, but not very well. So it's the PNM that has to tell you whether you'll be eligible to vote or not on the 7th of September. Now, Kamla has created a lot of confusion. Under our laws, the number of days between the writ of election and polling day is supposed to be no less than 36 days. And what the law says is that when the writ of election is published, it is done by the president, not by Kamla, that is day one. Then you count 14 days, and that is nomination day. And that is the day when our candidates, our 41 winning candidates, will go to their respective returning officers in all the 41 constituencies and submit their nomination papers. So that is day 15. And then the election 21 days after nomination day. So when you add that all up, 36 days. The way the law is written, it says not less than 14 days, not less than 21 days. But no prime minister in the history of Trinidad and Tobago has done what Kamla has done. Not one. If you go back in history, go all the way back to 1962, you will see every prime minister has stayed within that period of time for between the writ of election and election day, give or take a few days. Let me give you an example. We have some visitors. Faris, you could disturb our meeting, boy. Okay, Faris, thank you. Now, what Kamla has done to you, she has put 82 days between the dissolution of Parliament and election day. The Parliament dissolves tonight, 17th of June. And she has set the election for the 7th of September. So the period of time between today and election day is 82 days. And she has not named nomination day. Unlike any other prime minister, she announced the date for the election, but she has not named nomination day. That has never been done before. There has never been a situation where the date of election has been announced and nomination day has not been announced. And let me tell you what the problem is. Nomination day is 14 days after the writ is published and 21 days before election day. So it means nomination day could be any day between the 2nd of July and the 17th of August. That is what Kamala doing to me. And I'm calling on this platform tonight on behalf of the People's National Movement. I am demanding that the president issue the proclamation for the writ of election now. Issue it now. Because let me tell you what the law states. Let me tell you what the law states. And this is in the Representation of the People Act. An election shall be instituted by a writ of election issued by the president under the seal of the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Not Kamala, you know. It's the president, it's Carmona had to do that. He is the one who has to issue the writ of election. And every writ of election shall specify the day of nomination of candidates. So until the president publishes the writ of election, we don't know when nomination day is. And let me tell you how important nomination day is. Because after you submit your forms on your documents on that day, then you know who your opponent is. You know who the candidates are. Until that day. Because the way she has done this and said 82 days from now until the 7th of September, she could play cat and mouse with everybody for the next 2 months. And we call on Kamala and we call on the president to issue the writ of election now and tell us when nomination day is now. And we're going to campaign to make sure that this is done. We're not making joke with them, you know. If she feel she could play for the next 2 months, you know, she's the same one who said she came into government in 2010. And she said as a promise, she will have a fixed election date. All you remember that? You know, in the United States, the election date is a fixed day, a certain particular day in the year. And the election is held exactly 4 years after the last election. It has no thing in your back pocket. You can't play with the date. You can't play with nomination day. You can't play with candidate. In America, it's 4 years and it is fixed by law. She came into office and said that the days of a prime minister teasing the population and saying they have an election date in their back pocket, those days done. Under this People's Partnership, they have the highest integrity. What did she do? She let the whole 5 years run out. She teases us every year for 5 years. She say she have it in her front pocket because she have no back pocket. And now, almost 3 months between today and election day. We are not tolerating that. And let me explain why this is so important. On nomination day is important from a party point of view. All of you who go to the rally where the candidates are presented, we have it in Woodford Square, traditionally. Always had it in Woodford Square. That is done the weekend before nomination day. Because when you have your rally and present your 41 candidates, we do it on the Saturday or the Sunday, and the Monday is nomination day. That is what has happened in this country since 1962. And the reason why that can be so, because every political party could plan, because once the writ is published, you know when nomination day is, so you could plan the day for your presentation of candidates. Not under Kamala and the PP. I really wanted to talk about weed, you know. But I can't. Because this is too important. Let me tell you what is going to happen between now and September 7th. Let me tell you who is eligible to vote. A citizen of Trinidad and Tobago who is 18 years or older and has resided in an electoral district for at least 2 months before the qualifying date. Let me read that again. You have to live in your district for at least 2 months before the qualifying date. Now, a lot of people think the qualifying date is election day. That is not so. That is not so at all. And this is why this lady feels she's smart. Let me tell you when the qualifying date is. The qualifying date is the 9th day after the date fixed as the beginning of electoral registration. Now, in any election, there's a period of electoral registration. That is when people who are not registered can get the last chance to go and register. After that, when the period of electoral registration is finished, you can't get your name on the list. You could cry, you could weep, you could get on, but your name not going on the list. And let me explain the dates to you. It is my information that electoral registration in Trinidad and Tobago is going to commence on the 14th of July. Don't ask me how I know that. A little birdie tell me. And after that, you have 9 days to register. So when you count 9 days from the 14th of July, you get the 23rd of July. So PNM people, I want you to hear what I'm saying. July 23rd is the last date for you to go and get yourself registered to vote. I want you to tell everybody, especially your children, people who have just come of age, or who will come of age by the 23rd of July. That is the last possible day for you and your children to register to vote. Now, you see the confusion this lady causing? Normally, the period of electoral registration, because the time between the writ of election and election day is normally about 36, 37 days, electoral registration normally finishes a week or two before the election. That's how it works out. They started just before, it runs for about 9 days, and it finishes about 2 weeks before the election. So Trinidadians and Tobagonians are accustomed, whenever you hear the election day, you think you could go and register 2-3 weeks before that. Not this time. It is, the cutoff date is the 23rd of July. And the reason it is so, because you have this long, long, long period between today, when the parliament dissolves, and election day. And let me explain something else to you. The annual list of voters, this is very, very important. The Election and Boundaries Commission publishes an annual list of electors once per year. Just once. On the 1st of July. That's just 2 weeks from now. So on July the 1st, Election and Boundaries Commission is going to publish the annual list of electors 2015. And I'm telling all of you, make sure you go and check and see if your name is on the voters list. Make sure you go. There are 2 ways to do it. You could do the traditional way. Go and find the EBC office in your area. Walk inside and check it. Or those of you who are computer savvy, you can go online. The Election and Boundaries Commission has a website, ebctt.com, and they have a link that says check your registration. You just click it, you put in your name, first name, last name, street, and punch the thing, and it will tell you whether you are registered or not, which polling station you're in, and the address of your polling station. So all of you who are computer savvy, I'm asking you when you leave this meeting tonight, and if you can't do it, let your children do it for you. Go on the EBC website and check and see if you're registered. And those of you who prefer the traditional way, go into the EBC and check the list. And the annual list is coming out on the 1st of July. And with just a few additions, that is the list that will be used for election. So you have to be very, very, very careful. That list is coming out on July 1st, and you only have until the 23rd of July to get your name on the list. I want you to understand these dates. July 1st, the annual list coming out for the whole country, and July 23rd, the last possible day for you to get your name and your children's name on the voters list. Now, we know this because we is PNM, and we've been doing this for more than 50 years. Kamala feels she's smart. She can't catch we. We're doing this a long time. And there are other things that we will be doing, that when the list is published, and the electoral registration begins, you then have periods of time to object to names on the list or to query the non-appearance of a name on the list. We know these things. You have 5 days, 6 days, 4 days. It's all in the legislation. We are very familiar with it, and we will be dealing with that. If we think there are names on the list that should come off, or names not on the list that should go on, we at Balize House, we will be dealing with that, and in every constituency of the PNM. So have no fear about that. But your duty, your first duty, is by the 23rd of July, go and get your name on the list. I'm telling you, it's all very well to love PNM. It's all very well to say we go win. It's all very well to say we fed up at them people. You can't wait to vote. But I have contested 7 elections. And in every election, people come crying to me on election day. Mr. Imbert, my name not on the list. And I have to go and find the returning officer, go down to EBC headquarters, talk to the chief election officer, get them to pull out the binder, look for the people's name. Every election for the last 7 elections that I've contested, that happens. I don't want that to happen to any PNM people. It could happen to UNC, I don't care about them. I don't want it to happen to any PNM people. I can't stress this enough. So as I said, I wanted to talk about weed, but they wouldn't let me. I wanted to talk about how they throw Rowley out of the parliament and they deny him his constitutional rights, but they wouldn't let me. I'll end this contribution by talking about the tugboats that the government bring for we. You know, when the PNM left office in 2010, we know that the biggest problem you have in Trinidad and Tobago that affects crime is drugs. Everybody know that. Trinidad and Tobago is what is called a transshipment point. So the drugs are produced in South and Central America. They're produced in Mexico, produced in Colombia, they're produced in Peru, and they come through Venezuela, they pass through Trinidad, and they go to the United States, and they go to Europe from here. So we are what is called a transshipment point. And when the drugs reach here to go elsewhere, guns come with the drugs. The container or whatever they come in, the fishing boat or whatever they come in with, it brings in guns too. The guns remain in Trinidad, and the drugs go Europe and United States. So that is why there are so many guns in Trinidad, and that's why we have a crime problem of this magnitude. So the People's National Movement, recognizing that our borders were open and porous, as they say, that boats could just pass through, we had a strategy. And we commissioned a firm of boat builders in England to build 3 offshore patrol vessels, a firm of boat builders in Australia to build 6 fast patrol craft, and we were buying 9 interceptors from the United States and 4 armed helicopters from the United States. And the way this thing would have worked, one of the offshore patrol vessels would have patrolled the north of Trinidad, one would have patrolled the east and the south, and one would have been further up to outside our territorial seas, 200 miles up, looking for drug traffickers up there. And each of these vessels was equipped with a helicopter pad, and each of the armed helicopters was going to go on the offshore patrol vessels. And these vessels could carry 120 men, could be out at sea for 35 days, and have a range of 5,000 miles. So you see how long they could be outside there. They have the helicopter, the armed helicopter, and on the ship, they have armed interceptors. An interceptor is a fast speed boat that could go up to 50 knots. So as the drug traffickers are detected, the helicopter will take off, the interceptor will take off, and they will deal with the drug trafficker. In addition, we commissioned 6 fast patrol craft from Australia to work inside our near shore waters from 2 miles to about 10 miles offshore. 6 fast patrol craft. And then we had 9 fast interceptors to work together with these and the 4 armed helicopters. Miss Kamala come in. She watched them. She said, them both ain't good now. I ain't want them. Done. You know the Australian Navy bought the boats and put them into service, and they are some of the best boats in the, not Australians, or the Brazilian Navy in Brazil. Our ships have gone to Brazil, and the Brazilian Navy, which is the largest navy in South America, using our offshore patrol vessels, no problem at all. Same boats that the lady say ain't good. The Brazilian Navy, the largest and oldest navy in South America, using our offshore patrol vessels. And they find it so good, they buy 5 more. So they take the 3 built for us, and they buy 5 more. They have 8 now, all based on the Trinidad and Tobago design. So, I say I'm not talking about weed tonight. No, I'm not talking about that. So she said the boats ain't good. And she spent 5 years saying they will buy boats. They say they will buy boats from Colombia. They say they will buy boats from Holland. They say they will buy boats from Australia. The whole 5 years pass. And election coming now. She bring a little tugboat for me and park it up by the waterfront. I'm not joking, a tugboat. A little tugboat, half the size of the offshore patrol vessels. No guns. When you look at it, they don't have a single gun on the boat. Slower boat, no capacity. It could hardly carry anybody. That is their solution to dealing with drug trafficking in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And as I leave this platform tonight, let me just repeat those dates for you. The annual list of electors will be published on the 1st of July 2015. It will be published on the EBC website and in the EBC offices. And the last day you have to register yourself is the 23rd of July. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. And once you do what you are supposed to do, we will do what we have to do. And on September 7th, the PNM will come marching home. And you will hear the shout in Balize House, great is the PNM, great is the PNM, and we have prevailed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.